Hello, welcome to Control Structures Part 3. This goes over various looping scenarios. So, what is looping? Looping is a piece of code that executes more than once. Why do we use it? Well, we have lists of information or arrays of items, and we want to do an operation on them. There's times you'll see it in many different places, wanting to execute a specific piece of code more than once. Happens everywhere. Well, how do we use it? Well, let's go over it and figure out these different looping structures. First thing we're going to do, let's create a variable called money, and we're going to just have 1, 5, 10, 25. And what we want to do is we're going to output the first the first index of money. So the first index is 1, like we know already. So my question is, how can we print all of the money? Let's say that you have not only that, but you have 3 dimes and 4 quarters and 2 pennies. Well, this would be a lot of console logging. So how can we do this a little bit better? So the first thing we can do is we can create a do-while loop. So what a do-while loop does is it executes at least once and then checks for a condition. So in this case, we're going to have a counter variable, and we're going to say we're going to do this loop while the counter variable is less than money.length. And so this is our the length of this money. So as long as this counter is less than, then we're fine. This is an increment operator. So this would, all this says is that add to I 1. So every time this loops, it's going to add 1, add 1, add 1, just like that. Next thing we do, we can console log, and we're going to say money, and we want to index money by that counter variable. Alright, well, let's see what this does. Alright, so it output all of our money. So this is a do-while loop. The first thing it runs is it runs this, and then it checks whether or not I is less than money's length. Alright, well, let's try this again with a while loop. A while loop will run, it'll first check the condition, so we're going to check whether or not I is less than money.length. Console.log money at I and I++. Let's try this one out. Same thing. Alright, so now let's look at a key difference between them. So let me go back to here, to the do while loop, and also to the while loop, and I'm going to change the while loop's variable to x. So what we're going to do is say I is less than money length, right? So money's length, let's find out that. Money's length is 10. So if I set this to 10, let's see what happens. Undefined. Alright, and now if I set this to 10, and I'm going to say that this is while loop, just so we keep track of where we're at. Alright, so what I said is that this variable is 10, which is the money's length. In the do while statement, we executed this line because it says undefined. In the while loop, we checked first, and then we said, oh, it is not less than the length. So we skipped this whole execution. So that's the difference between a do while and a while loop. Now let's get into for loops. So a for loop, we can say variable is I equal to 0. We're going to create a variable, and we're going to say I is less than money.length, and then on every update we're going to increment. So what this is saying is that create a local variable I, then we're going to say on every loop we're going to check whether or not I is less than the length, and also at the end of each loop we're going to add to I. So in this case we say money console.log money at I. Alright, now let's look at this one. Yep, does the same thing. So, this is nice, but we have to explicitly state the money's length and also create a variable, and so there's a lot of things that's happening. We have to keep sure of the update operation. So let's find out a simpler way. We have a for in loop, so we can say for var index in money. So this is going to say for every index that's in money, we're going to console log money at index. Yep, and it does the same thing. The last looping structure I'm going to do is kind of, you don't have to worry too much about it, but I'm putting this in there just so we can get exposed to some new techniques. So we're going to say function, and we're going to say coin console.log coin. So what this is saying, this is using iterator on an array. So this is saying that for each item in the array, here it is, perform the specified action for each element in the array. What it's saying is for every item, I'm going to pass this value. This value is going to be every item. And then for every item, I want to just console log it. So let's see if this works. And it does. So that was 4 different ways or 5 different ways to print out money using looping structures.